Welcome to Tackle Fanatics TV, and in this episode of TFTV you get a chance to see Korda's Session Victim 7 with Danny Fairbrass and friends as they visit Gigantica.
In my heart of hearts, I thought I was going to come and really enjoy it as like a real social jolly. And I wasn't intending on taking it too seriously and just taking it as it came. But as soon as I got here and I saw the wall of carp of just an array of scaly, stunning beasts and big dark ones, long scaly ones, I knew that I was going to be taking it a little bit more seriously. And the real flip moment was when I saw them starting to show out in the middle, and the size of some of these things coming out, it's like nothing I'd ever seen before. They were massive, just coming out and just crashing back in. Having never been here before, we had the walk round and saw the open water swims, saw the snag swims, but it's all based on the draw. So I've drawn up a rough list of where I wanted to be.
I looked on the board where people's names were and I see the Alamo as a double swim. So I see my old mate James Turner in there, so I thought we'd double up for the week, have a bit of a social with it, and put us in a really good swim actually, sort of middle of the lake. Only if it was, we know the fish live out there, so I was well happy with that.
We're fishing as a team because we're doubled up. There's no point one of us fishing further than the other, because then we're just going to cut the lines off and potentially ruin each other's fishing. So we agreed on a distance and we had a little plumber bout at kind of maximum distance.
I felt like the new boy when I turned up doing that. I had to have a few goes, but we got there in the end, so we clipped up to 28 wraps. My side, I had the left-hand side of the swim. I got advised to sort of aim at Baxter, straight at Dan, all topsy. Found it was pretty clean out there. Clipped all the rods up to the same range, so they're all staggered. And basically I put all three rods into the swim pretty tight compared to normally. The lads spread them in the vicinity, but I put them all pretty tight. I found the cleanest area was there.
And as you came closer, you hit a band of weed, so fishing over the back of that so we could get away with a bit of a tighter line. It's quite deep, about 20 foot. Bait-wise, started off with 4 kilos of 18mm hybrid, and each day I've just topped it up with however much I think's gone. So the first couple of days, even though I hadn't had any takes, I still put about 3 kilos in each day because the bait was washing out. It's very soft, there's quite a lot of bream in here, so when it's been out in the water for a while, it goes down to nothing. And I was really concerned that the fish might be, or the bream, sorry, might be breaking it down. And we're putting out pre-soaked baits as well. It goes out a bit easier, but also a little bit softer. So we're considerate of that.
I went straight in hook bait wise with the peaches and cream from Mainline, again for a bit of recommendation. I've been recommended like half a milky toffee by my old mate Apache from a bit of information I'd got off him, but my fishing lately has all been boily rather than my bit fishing, so went in with a high confidence, just a bit of a spring in my step from a bit of fishing recently back home.
If we were baiting up at the same time. If we were putting the rigs out, we'd kind of try to coincide it so that we wouldn't ruin each other's chances, and also that we'd maximise our bite times and kind of work together on that, and that worked really well.
Nothing the first night, looked really epic the next morning, a few liners, just sort of brewing. Again, went for an epic dinner like usual. Rods back out, a bit more of I broke them up a little bit more, not too much, but a little bit more gap in them.
I had a take about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and quite a funny story behind it. I was actually clearing the weed out the edge with some of the bailiffs. They'd cut the weed and it floated up, so I've jumped in Cheryl and I'm going round over the lines just to clear some of the weed that got caught, and Bailey's going, get back, your rod. And I'm going, chill out Ian, chill out Rich, it's just me, I'm in the boat. I've looked and Bailey's got the rod in full battle curve, and it was obvious it wasn't me in the boat, so I paddled back desperately like that, oars going everywhere, and I've jumped out the boat and played that fish in, and a bit of a crowd's gathered. 5–10 minutes into the fight, the other rod's rattled off, and Ian's grabbed that again. First fish has come up on the line, and I've seen it, and it's a long old scaly warlock, and it's eventually gone into the net, at which point I've ceremoniously taken the other rod off Ian, played that one in, and that rolled, and unfortunately that came off a short while afterwards. But it's hard to be disappointed when you've got an upper 40 in the net, especially a nice long scaly one like that. So
and then the next afternoon started up with the liners again. 2 o'clock, lo and behold, the middle rod busted off and got me winded. So the assistant of the gaffer, Mr. Fairbrass, we went out. Epic boat battle, he calmed me down, a bit of panic initially. What swims in this lake could be a fish of a lifetime. Felt like I had jaws on the end actually. Opening the bow line, to and fro in, great control by Dan, and up popped a fish and got him in the net, which worked out to be a 34-pounder. So I was happy to get off the mark with that, you know.
That's a sick Hendrix.
Epic, mate. That's an awesome Hendrix. Awesome.
The thing with Gigantica is every single swim can do a bite. If you angle it right, no matter what one you come in, if you come out 14th, you have got a chance of catching one. I know Jake did it last year, coming out last, and he caught the Immaculate. So 11th was all right. It still gave me a swim. I mean, I ended up in, I picked Oblivion in the end. Obviously, there was only 4 left to choose from. So looking at the weather conditions, the wind's sort of packing in here anyway. Ideally, it'd probably be your first choice. So, you know, I wasn't disappointed to get in here. I was fishing sort of 2 out in open water and 1 down to my right. And I just felt happier. And then early on, I had a bite from the open water rods and had an absolutely beautiful 31-pound common. And I think at the same time, Ian had one, and we both sort of commented how just immaculate these fish were. Mouths absolutely perfect, not a scale out of place, and you wonder if they've actually been hooked before. It's very, very easy on a lake full of so many big uns that these smaller commons can go unnoticed and just forgotten about. So I was really happy to get off the mark.
And I guess it was probably about 1 o'clock. I'd just gone to sleep, and the right-hand rod tore off, and eventually got that one into the net, and that was a fish named Pips at 55.10. If I'd have left it at the first fish, I'd have still made my week, but to top it off with that one was fantastic. And there was a spell of, I think it was about 45 minutes when it did 3 bites. I had Pips at 55, Dovey had Shoulders at 51, and then obviously John just shortly after that had Brutus at 63. So it's a fantastic little spell there. The atmosphere was electric, it was flat calm, and you know, you could hear the excited shouts and the head torches going on around the lake as people really got into it.
I can safely say, without trawling through the records, that's a personal best.
You sure?
Yeah.
Did you want to check a second time maybe?
Pretty sure. It was incredible. And then having obviously Daryl, Garth, yourself, Danny.
Yeah, Rich. And that's the one he really wanted as well, wasn't it? So it was just snaffled from under his nose.
And it was a fish called Brutus, and it was the one that Dan had identified the previous day as being the one he most wanted to catch.
P45 in the post.
So, I didn't feel too bad about that, I have to be honest. But
no remorse, I've had it, 63 pounds.
Middle of the night, a starry Gigantica night, huge fish in the net, some amazing anglers and friends surrounding me.
Yeah.
And the next few minutes were just, they're now a bit of a blur, and I can take it in with the photos, I think.
Yeah.
Digest it a bit over time, but it was incredible.
Wholesome, mate, epic. Well done, mate. Brilliant job.
Just the following day, had a really, really slow bite on my right-hand rod. Like, literally, I was fishing the bobbin really slack, and it only pulled it up half mast. Sort of came rushing out. It was early in the morning, and I could just see the tip almost just bouncing around. I just thought it might be a bream. Dovey was in the swim with me. We thought it was a tench, we thought it was this, we thought it was that. Done me in a bit of weed, managed to get it out. Saw that it was obviously a carp. And an absolutely glorious fish rolled in the net called Mad Max, it was called. It was caught, I think, back in the winter, one of the first freebie winter trips that happened earlier on this year. Almost a fully scaled mirror. Rob Willingham wouldn't quite give me fully scaled because there was a slight nude patch, but it made the trip for me in such an early time. It was, you know, I can't say how beautiful it was. I'm sure you'll see in a minute on the pictures.
There was this period, I guess, between midnight and 3 o'clock where it was electric again. It was quiet and the fish were all over us. There was the waves from the fish rushing into the bank, and some of the size of the fish coming out there were just phenomenal. About 10 to 6 this morning, my middle rod pulled up and I was on it pretty quickly, playing it in. Again, Ian came out and helped me. I thought it was a small one. No line was taken off the clutch in the playing of it, just a lot of head shaking. Dived down a couple of times, and Ian did a proper salmon swoop, bent the net and shuffled it in. But as he was shuffling it in, he really had to get the net down again because it was such a deep fish. And in the edge, you know, it grown from me thinking it was probably a 20 or a 30 up to me thinking it's a good 40. And Ian said, you know, that's a real good 40, that is, boy. And he's gone to try and unhook it in the net, and as he's lifted it up, the shoulders have just come heaving out the water, and it became clear it was getting a little bit bigger. So when we got it out, we thought probably going to go 50, and on the scales it went 65.4, which is just phenomenal. It's, you know, far bigger than anything I've ever caught, and it was ID'd as the target fish. And just phenomenal. I was floating around on cloud 9. The guys came around and helped me. We kept it in the water while we did the whole thing. Such a big, fragile fish. You know, I showed her so much care and respect, and she showed me absolutely none, just every opportunity trying to beat me. And you know, with Barty in the water helping me out, it was phenomenal. And it's a moment I'll probably never forget.
Fish here is just unbelievable what could be on the end next. You know, it's nothing you experience back home. It's just full of whackers, real beautiful fish as well, really individually charactered carp that you'd happily target back home. Great facilities, the food, ain't gone hungry, and just the fishing's awesome because you actually feel like you're fishing. You know, you actually got an angle for them, which gives them the credibility that they've got. You know, it's not just chuck it anywhere and you get a bite. You've got to think about your angling, your rigs, and fish time. You fish well and they'll forgive you, they'll give you a bite, you know, and it's, yeah, they make you work for it, that's for sure. It's been an absolute joy to be here, and it's so cliched, I don't mind not catching. I'm going to go off and do some cartwheels in my pants now.
Well, what an amazing week it has been. PB's broken. I got to see my target fish, nicknamed the Target, you know, that I've never seen on a bank before. It was just a spellbinding carp, and it was an absolute privilege to be part of that photographing and weighing session. And also to see Johnny Sissons get Brutus, which is another one on my wanted list, to catch it on a tiger nut that I gave him was just an absolute privilege again to be part of that. He was totally blown away. We got amazing photographs of it. And when people that you're really close to catch something that is a fish of a lifetime, often the feeling is greater watching it than it actually happening yourself, and it all becomes a bit of a blur when you catch a big one. You know, as usual, everybody on the trip has been exemplary. There's been loads of craziness, you know, loads of camaraderie, loads of joke telling, loads of laughs, loads of beers, and loads of carp as well. So I've got my last night to go. Hopefully I'll catch a carp. I'm sure there'll be a couple more big ones out of the main lake, and a few more out of the road lake. Yeah, hopefully we'll have a big carp to show you in the night, and if not, we'll see you next year.
All right, enough. We can go again next year.
You've been tuned in to Tackle Fanatics TV, and many thanks for watching. Tackle Fanatics are a full Korda stockist and offer a massive range of products at the best prices around. We also stock a vast selection of carp equipment from all the leading manufacturers. To view our range, log on to www.tacklefanatics.co.uk. Remember, Tackle Fanatics also offer finance to make your tackle purchase more affordable. Tight lines and wet nets from everybody at TFTV.